Hello, viewers. You're welcome to another edition of Broken Not Shattered. Before we go into the interview today, unfortunately, again, Ike is not in the studio. I was hoping that Ike will be with me in the studio, but somehow it turned out to be that OBG, your special guy, will only be with you today. And I'm going to make your day beautiful. Trust me, I'm going to do that. However, I want to thank all our subscribers, all our followers for staying with us week in, week out, and for following us. If you've not subscribed to our channel, do well to follow us on all social media from Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, and Instagram. So do well to follow us, click the subscribe button, like, and share the link to your loved ones. Thank you. And before we get into the journey, we have in the studio here Lisa. Lisa, please, I'll give you the privilege of introducing yourself to the audience as you want them to get to know you. So, who is Lisa?
My name's Lisa Ortiz. I'm an advocate. I wrote She Wore Her Scars Like Wings. It's basically a memoir about my life in foster care, abuse, domestic violence, and how all of that molded me into the person that I am right now. So that's just like a quick a quick synopsis.
Synopsis, I get that. So, Lisa, tell us, what is it? Give us an idea of what we're going to hear from you today.
My example is, I committed my life to help other women who are like me or who were like me in the past. I didn't have a good upbringing. I was raised in foster care. I didn't know who I was for a very long time. And because of my upbringing, I embraced abusive relationships, a lot of them. And with those abusive relationships, it ended me going to prison for half of my life. I got incarcerated when I was in my 20s and I got released in my 40s. So I was in there half my life. While I was incarcerated, that's when I wrote my book. Like I said before, it's called She Wore Her Scars Like Wings. And it basically tells everybody about my life. Foster care, countless homes, juvenile detention centers, me being violated as a child in one of the foster homes. It talks about a lot. And I created this movement because I want other women to know that they're not alone and they can speak up and they don't have to be afraid.
Lisa, you're just um, a replica or an example of if I can, you too can.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and I can't wait to unwrap all that we have, that you have to give us in this session. Now, you talked about foster home, right? And it
Yeah.
reminded me of something, and I want to ask you, what was it like growing up in a foster care without ever knowing your biological parent?
Well, I'm going to be honest. When my mother gave me up, I was 3 years old. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. My mother gave me up. She was a drug user. She was smoking crack, I guess, and they found me and my brother in abandoned apartment building. So then the state took us. I've never met my mother. Now that I'm older, I know who she is, but she refuses to meet me, and that's something that she has to deal with. I don't know, maybe she feels guilty for what I had to go through, but to me, that's still no excuse. But the foster homes that I did go in, they they weren't good. All right. I mean, my last name's Ortiz, but that's not my last name. That's my first adoptive family's last name. I continue to run away from there. They continued to put me inside a juvie. And I finally left their house at 12 and I've never seen them again. I was living in the streets. I never seen them again. And nor were they concerned because still legally, that's my mother legally, because she did adopt me. So I've never seen her since. I've been on my own since I was 12. So in and out of juvie, living in the streets. I finally got taken in by someone, and she did work to the juvenile detention center, and she let me stay with her for a little while. But being that I never had that love, I messed that up too. You know what I mean? I messed that up too. So I left Amanda's house and started doing my own thing and ended up getting with the wrong person who turned into my nightmare.
Yeah, it's all right. But then you've survived abusive marriage and relationship.
Yeah.
Looking back, what are those warning signs that there are abuse that people often overlook?
The warning signs of abuse is like when someone automatically starts to control you. When you start a relationship with someone and they meet you how you are, all right? They meet you how you are. And when you guys get into some type of disagreement, etc., they automatically start throwing your secrets in your face to try to cut you down. Or they use your secrets because they know them and they know that your secrets are your weakness and you don't want to be exposed. So you obey. Do you understand? When someone tries to take advantage of you mentally because they know all the mess that you had to go through already, they already know that you're weak. They already know that you're not going to leave them because you're so afraid of not having a family and not having that love. So that's one of the signs. Just one of them, because there's many.
Yeah, I agree with you. Completely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to go on a very short break. But I want to take this question before we go on a break. Initially, I was thinking maybe we will come back on the break. But no, let me take this question. So when we come back on the break, we'll talk about the things, right? Your journey started from, several years of addiction to selling of drugs and to over 15 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
What was the turning point, that changed your mindset during your incarceration?
My turning point is that, like I said before, I did have my life in there. And I never realized how many women were like me, how many women had to walk in my shoes until I went to prison and I heard their stories. I've always been a good listener and people always talk to me. And those ladies in there, I mean, they're in there because they hurt their abuser or something like that happened, and they're stuck in there for life for defending themselves. Period. Defending themselves. They're stuck in there. So when they told me their story, I told myself, I said, you know what? I've kept this inside me for so long, but I know that my story could change people. And I know my story could give other women motivation and to let them know that if I did it, you could do it.
This is mind blowing. We're gonna go on a very quick break, and then when we're back, I'm gonna ask you about your book.
Okay.
You're welcome, viewers, back here in the studio. All right. Like I said earlier, unfortunately, Ike is not in the studio with me, and I, OBG, your guy, is standing on him. Again, I want to thank our followers and our subscribers for always stopping by week in, week out to catch up with us. And if you're not yet subscribed to our channel, do well to subscribe. Click the notification button, like and share the link with your loved ones. We are on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and any other platform you can think of. So do well to follow us. Meanwhile, before we left, we were having a very good time with Lisa. Lisa, please tell us about your book. She wore her scars like wings. What's the book all about?
My book, as you see in the background, that's the cover of it. Here it is right here. My book, She Wore Her Scars Like Wings. It's a memoir of pain, power, and rebirth of me. This is about my life. And I chose this title because for a long time, I hid my scars. I hid my wounds. So I chose this title because I figured that why hide my scars? Why not wear them like wings so you can help other people, Lisa? So with my book, I basically it's about my childhood. It's about when I was a young adult. It's about my upbringing. It's about my prison sentence. It's about my release and the birth of Lisa, the new Lisa.
But then, Lisa, I want to ask you this. What do you want to achieve with your story?
What do I want to achieve with my story? Number one, I already have a nonprofit organization called Scars Like Wings Incorporated. That's for domestic violence survivors. That's for women who've been sex trafficked. That's for women who are in unsafe situations. And I want to help them. Right now, I'm getting a domestic violence hotline put together. We're getting so we can have, if they call the hotline and they need to go get picked up, we're arranging that too. And we're going to be able to take them somewhere safe. Where my goal is to help every woman that needs to be helped and not turn them around like I was. I didn't tell you this, but before I went to prison, I loaded my children up inside my car, went to a domestic violence shelter, and they turned me away. They turned me and my children away. 2 weeks after that, I ended up going to jail. And then I ended up going to prison, and here I am now. So that's my motive. And that's why I feel so strongly about this, because I feel like if they wouldn't have turned me around at that shelter, I would have been able to raise my children. I would have been somewhere safe where I wasn't scared. and I would have been able to start my life over right then and there. Not start my life now, but start it over right then and there, because I asked for help and I wasn't given it. And that's what I want to do.
And I believe the world will hear your voice. I see a whole lot in what you're saying. Lisa, you spent your life began without you knowing your biological parents. Spent more of your years and active years in the foster home. Grew up without knowing your parents. What do you think could have been the issue now that you are a mother? And how do you think that could have been corrected? So what I mean by that is, you as a child grew up in the foster home without knowing from your parents. It was an issue.
Yeah.
There was a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah.
Having become a mother, what do you think could have been the issue then that made a child like you ended up in a foster home without knowing her biological parents? And how do you think, or how have you been able to address that? And what advice will you give to parents?
Well, to be honest, my real mother was a drug addict. Okay, she smoked crack, and when they came and took me and my brother, after me and my brother, she had 4 more children, and since then, I know who she is now, but she just refuses to meet me. Because of that, I mean, me and my children, I'm not going to sit here and say that we have the best relationship, because we do not. You already know that I was in prison almost all their lives. All right. So we don't have a good relationship at all. But what I can say to other women who have been through this situation, when you have your children, you have to put them first. You have to put them first, period, point blank. That means you have to choose your children and you have to choose yourself. And if that means that you have to leave, then you have to leave and you have to take your kids with you, period, point blank. Because once an abuser, once anything happens one time, it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again. It's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. And being a mother, my oldest children, they saw this, and it's messed them up for the rest of their lives. And that's something that I have to live with. So if any other women, if they're going through that right now, they have to think about their children. They have to. And they have to go. And another thing, if they're like me and they don't know their parents or whatever, and they found them and that parent is not receptive, then at that point, you have to let them go too. Because at the end of the day, and I'm just going to be honest here, I've never seen my mother in my life. I've never heard her voice. I just received a text message the other day from her. In fact, I'm going to show you. I'll put it right here to the camera, what she wrote me, because I asked a question. She told me that in black, I don't know how far the camera is, but it says right here, do not contact me ever again. And this is because I was telling her that she needs to get to know her son, which is my brother. I don't care if she gets to know me or not. To me, that chapter's closed because she refused to meet me 3 or 4 times already. So to me, that chapter's closed. But my brother, for the other hand, I raised my brother. It was always me and my brother always me and my brother. My brother has been in prison since he was 20. He's 49 years old. I told her, I said, accept his phone calls. They're free. They're free. Talk to him. He needs you. And he doesn't even know you, but he needs you. He's alone in there. He's suffering. She called me negative and she said, don't contact her again. I told her, I said, God bless you, no problem.
Wow, Lisa is hot in the studio here. I didn't see this coming. It's been a very interesting moment with you in the studio. But Lisa, before you go, I want to ask, what message do you have for someone or children, young or whatever, whether a teenager or a child in the foster home, who probably may be going through what you have gone through in foster home? And I want you to match that with what is your perception about foster homes and what is the awareness we want to create for audience to know?
Okay, first, let me address this to those who are still in foster care. And I don't know who's listening today. I don't know if you know someone who's in a foster home. I don't know who's listening. But foster homes, most of them are not good. And you're too scared to tell someone. You can DM me. I'll tell it. You don't have to be scared. Whoever that adult is, they're disgusting. They're gross. And it's not you. It's not your fault. It's their fault. They're disgusting. You need to tell. And you need to tell immediately. Even if you contact me, I'll tell it. Another thing, caseworkers. Caseworkers need to drop in on these homes, not just every once in a while. You guys need to go in there weekly. Because a lot of the times these people are taking in these children just to get the money. That's it. They're taking them in to get the money. They're going through all this abuse. As you see on the news, there's all types of these kids getting abused because the caseworkers aren't checking in on these children. They're not checking in on them because they really don't care about them. They're just another case. They're just another number. And that's not fair to them. That's not fair to those children because they deserve to be loved. They deserve to be protected and they deserve to be cared about and they deserve to be looked at more than just another caseload in aggravation.
Lisa, I see so much passion in your voice. Lisa, how can we get in touch with you? Someone might be thinking of how to get in touch with you. How do people get in touch with you? What's your handle? Tell us.
Easy. So you can get in contact with me easy. Just put contactlisaortiz.com and all of my social media handles are there. All of them. Contactlisaortiz.com.
Contactlisaortiz.com. Yes, Lisa, we're almost out of time. But before we leave the studio, there is a culture we have in DNA. And the culture is this. The last guest will always drop message for the next guest, irrespective of who the guest will be. And there is no right or wrong answer to the question. And you, in turn, will drop the question for the next guest, not knowing who the guest will be. Are you in on that?
Yeah, sure.
So let's go there. So the last guest asked, what advice will you give to someone who is currently facing the same challenge as yours?
What advice would I give someone who's facing the same challenge as me?
Exactly.
Well, the advice that worked for me is, one, you got to pray. One, okay? Number two, you have to open your mouth. I don't care if you tell a friend. I don't care if you tell a stranger. I don't care if you pick up the telephone. You have to open your mouth or you will remain stuck. You'll remain stuck. You'll grow old. You'll lose your dreams. That dream that you had, you won't get it if you don't open your mouth, if you don't tell. You have to tell. You have to. There's no other answer. You have to tell.
And these things are basic and fact. So, Lisa, it's like saying a closed mouth is a closed destiny. So you have
exactly.
Now, so what's going to be your own question?
My question to the next person?
Exactly.
How did you make it?
Sounds interesting. Lisa, thank you for your time with us in the studio. Honestly, I feel like we could go on and on and on, but I see we're just above the time with just few minutes. Lisa, thank you for stopping by in the studio. And before I come back to you to say your last words of greeting, I just want to thank our audience who all the time stay with us week in, week out. I want to say a big shout out to our followers and subscribers. And if you're not following us, please do wait to follow us on BNS Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and even Instagram. Ike is not in the studio with me today, but I know Ike will be back soon and it's going to be a blast. Lisa, what do you have to say last before we say bye?
I just want to thank you for having me here. I appreciate you having me on your podcast and talking about my book. And I hope my message reached somebody today. I truly, truly do. And I just want to leave. I mean, I'm not sure if there are any ladies listening that could relate. If you need help, I'm here. I'm here. I got you. Contact me. I got you.
If you need me, Lisa is here. Contact her. Lisa, thank you for being in the studio with you. Please do not stay away from us. We'll get in touch with you anytime, any day. Lisa, with this, I want to say our last few and famous words: love, peace, and more grace. Thank you for stopping by.
You're welcome. Bye.